Right, so I'm going to go back to my title container. Now, when I do this, I'm going to make sure I position the dog at a certain position. So, oh, I'm still running it. So I'm going to actually pass it a parameter to say where I want to start on screen. So I'm going to say title dog, and I'm going to give it a couple of values. So I'm going to say gm.screen. I want it to appear to the right of the screen. So I'm going to say screen size dot right. That will give me the right hand edge, and I want to add a bit on so I don't see it. 100. I'll put 100. Doesn't matter. Okay. And I don't know whereabouts, somewhere in the centre. It's got to try and look like it's walking on that grass, but I don't think it's going to work very well. So I'm just going to say gm.screen size.center.y. Okay, right. Again, it doesn't exist, so I'm going to get Visual Studio to do the work. So Control and full stop. Press enter, and it's created it. So I'm going to go to that. And you see, it's had a good stab. I don't actually want integer values. So I'm just going to modify these to floats. It can only be so clever. It doesn't really know what we're doing. It's having a guess. So I was going to change all these to floats. In fact, I don't actually need those. That's the overkill it does. All right. Right. So again, I'm just going to copy those two library references. There may be other things we need. Depends on what you're doing. If you're messing about with audio, you'll have to have the audio ones as well. Okay. And I'm going to change these parameter names so they're X and Y. I don't know why it put V. Bit odd. And I'm going to nick also this load of code from the title graphic, put it in with the dog. The alignment, I'm not really too fussed about the old alignment there. I need to make sure I inherit from sprite. Okay, right, so the X position this time is going to be set by the parameter. So wherever the X is, this will allow me to put multiple dogs on screen as well. For that added, like, I don't know, je ne sais quoi or whatever, as the French say. The only other thing I know in French. Right, obviously the rectangle's wrong. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my fireworks. Right, and this time I'm going to try and use the auto guide. See that little dash thing that's come up? That tries to tell you where it thinks the edge of the graphics is. It doesn't always work, but sometimes. So that'll do. Oh no, it's not got his head, see? Let's zoom in a bit. What I tend to do sometimes, because it can get fiddly, is I just move it till it's up, and I know that the X and Y is in the right place, and I know that it needs to be one more pixel. It's like, oh, it's one more pixel. So I'm going to use the numbers that are on the screen there. So 4E1171. You're going to so be amazed by the animation going on here. You're going to wonder why Aardman even get out of bed in the morning to do their animations when you see this. So it isn't 166, it's 167. But to define another frame, all I do is I just say, right, have another frame. I've obviously got to change the rectangle, so I don't even think they're the same size when I drew them. Yeah, that's good enough. Right, so that was 282. See, I've forgotten my short-term memory. 164. Ideally, what you want to do when you're doing these is try and line them up so they're reasonably sensible. And they're the same sort of heights. It doesn't always work. Right, just to test that, okay, I need to make it move. So I'm going to give it a velocity. So I'm going to say velocity equals new and a vector 3, which is a three-dimensional position, X, Y, and Z. Because you can move in the Z, which is backwards and forwards. So I'm going to say minus 100, which means left. I don't want it to move vertically, and I don't want it to move in the Z direction in and out of the screen. Okay, so I'm just going to check that that works first, and then I'll do the animation bit. He needs to come down a little bit, I think. It's a bit. He's in the sky. That's not bad. Right. So it doesn't look bad. You can't see him when he goes in front of the tree. It doesn't look too bad. I'm just gonna, when I call that from the title container, I'm gonna say center of the screen, but I'm gonna drop down 150 pixels. Let's just see if that's in the right place. Yeah, that's a bit better. I think he'd be a bit scared by the big red dog, if he understood it as a dog. Right, the animation then. There's 3 ways of doing animation. You can do animation whenever you update something. You can do animation like you can in Flash, where you say, right, every so many fractions of a second change. And then you can do something which is better, which is as you move so far, change animation. So you can get better walking effects with that. So by default, all the frames are using animation. So I'm not going to go into any technical horrible bits yet. So I'm just going to say frame.animator. And then I'm just going to do animate on distance. And then we're going to see how bad this is. So we have to estimate what the step distance is of the character. So if you've got a nice graphic, the people doing shoot 'em ups, they get away with all this because they haven't got to do any horrible complex animation. But anyone doing a character that's walking, ooh. Right, so I'm going to guess that his stride is 10 pixels, which might be massively out. And then I pick what I want to do when I get to the end of the animation. So I want to just keep repeating. Okay, but if you was doing an explosion, what you'd probably want to do is you want to animate and then destroy, kill the sprite. So you can say like animate and then get rid of it. All right, so the animation system you can do some really cool stuff with. Okay, right, let's just see what this looks like. This might look mind-blowing, but on a completely different level to what we might want it to be. Hey, there he goes. That's not bad guess, 10. But to be fair, he's going to disappear in a minute. We'll wrap him round in a sec. I'll show you that. To be fair, it doesn't matter if your animation is that bad. It's not an animation unit, it's a programming unit. The key bit that the exam board would be interested in is that you've shown that you can create an object, you've inherited, you've set some properties, you've got parameters. Okay, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at it from that, the technical side. But aesthetically, I'm quite pleased with that. If my focus group said, I want your graphics to look like they were done in paint by a 2-year-old, then I would be hitting that straight off. I'd be like, yes, I've hit my requirement spec directly. Okay, so let me just show you how to use the limit system to wrap that round. And then what I'll do, that's it. Then we need to we build it up, watch the videos back. If you're doing anything a bit different, I hope you're doing something a bit different to what I've just put together, then I'll push you in the right direction. The engine can do millions and millions of things. Okay? And if there is something that you want to do that's way too complicated for what you're expected, I will bed it back into the engine. All right? That's how it's developed over the 10 years that I've been doing it. Okay, so I'm going to turn the limit system on. So I say limit initialize, and then I tell it how I want it to work. So I just say limit. Let me scroll that up, zoom in a little bit. Limit dot, and then there's loads of things, but we're just working with a viewport. And we say, right, when we get to the limit, what do we want to happen? Now you can bounce and things like that, but we want to wrap. And you see I've implemented loads of different things. So I'm going to do wrap exact. So when it goes off the screen, as soon as the sprite's completely gone off, it'll reposition it to the right hand side. Okay, so just 2 lines of code to do that, if that's the behavior you want. There's nothing to stop you making the dog turn around and walk the other way. Okay, you could flip it. But I think I've done good there. I like the ear, actually. If I had done the ear, I think it wouldn't have been believable. And there you go, he's come back. He's back! He found the tree so interesting that he thought he'd come past again. Okay. And that's about it. I'll stop the recording there so I don't ramble on too much.